Yes, the Russians tried to interfere with our election process. Yes, they had cyber attacks, active measures going on. We could find no evidence of collusion between either campaign and the Russians.
A rather sad chapter in our committee's long history. It was clear that their report was going to be completely political from beginning to end.
Well, it's really House Intel civil war going on. Despite the ranking Democrat of the House Intel Committee's best efforts, the Russia investigation is coming to an end. Here now to comment on this disagreement is Sharyl Attkisson, author of The Smear, How Shady Political Operatives and Fake News Control What You See, What You Think, and How You Vote. Virtually everything. Sharyl, good to see you. Thank you for coming on. Who do you think is right in this battle between Democrats and Republicans in the House Intel? Is it right to wrap up that Intel Committee hearing on Russian collusion right now?
Yes, based on the public evidence, the evidence that they had and the evidence that we've seen, and the evidence that Democrats and Republicans alike who have seen classified evidence have stated publicly, there's no reason, it seems to me, to continue that. Now, that's separate and aside from the special counsel's investigation. I can't say I know really much of anything about what he may have, and that's continuing on its own separate track, as I think most people think that it should.
But as you well know, and as you've written books about it and you report on it every night, I mean, the fact is that the media takes every little bit of information, and some maybe not so little bits, like the firing of Mr. McCabe, and blows it up into a whole new news cycle that'll last at least fully a week, if not a couple of days, and makes it seem like there really is more fire than smoke there.
Well, we have entered a new era in the past couple of years, in my view, that we were slipping toward gradually before that, whereby many in the press no longer want to represent news, non-political and political news, in a fair and unbiased fashion or follow the facts wherever they may lead. They are too often, in my view, out for to accomplish an agenda, and they will have the talking points du jour from whichever side on, despite what may be the truth. So they are in the business now of trying to generate news and reactions and sway opinions rather than simply reporting facts that are on the ground. And most importantly, I don't think we're doing enough reporting of things that powers don't want us to report. We're simply regurgitating what the parties do want us to report.
Well, to your first part, your book is called The Smear, and I'm wondering how much of what passes as news today, particularly about this administration, is more of a smear job than it is reportage.
I would say that most of what you see, let me just use the words of one of the smear artists I interviewed, most every narrative and image that crosses our path in daily lives right now was put there for a reason, often by an interest who paid a lot of money to place it there. And I go over the industry, the multi-billion-dollar industry that's figured out how to pull strings in the news media, whereby we are no longer, in my view, independently researching news that we see fit to print, so to speak, but instead we're taking suggestions and talking points from this multi-billion-dollar industry of LLCs and nonprofits and PR firms and crisis management firms to accomplish their agenda. They figured out how to make us report it.
A perfect example of that is Fusion GPS. This is the firm that was hired by the Democratic Committee in the Hillary campaign. They are smear merchants. I mean, that's what they do. And they were involved in the Trump dossier, which was, of course, a political attempt to smear Donald Trump. The media saw every time one of the founders of that organization, particularly Glenn Simpson, went to a conference, whether it was the Aspen Institute conference or whatever, he was surrounded by journalists who wanted to hear every little bit of information that he got, which was very often politically motivated stuff.
I don't mean to criticize reporters who use these tactics and use these groups. I do not use them. I do not knowingly use them. It's possible that they disguise themselves as other things, such as nonprofits, and present ideas to you. But I try very hard to find ideas my own way, not ideas that are presented to me. But there is a lot of this opposition research and crisis management people working for clients being paid a lot of money to connect to people in the press, to get meetings with reporters, to write op-eds in the New York Times and other papers under the name of one person, but probably written by a PR firm. And the publications often know this. Our strings are being pulled every day in ways that I think a lot of people don't imagine.
Well, you spent time with the big networks and so forth. I mean, what happened? When did that sort of old-style gumshoe reporting fall out of favor?
Well, I can tell you that maybe 10 years ago or before that, when I saw this multi-billion-dollar industry developing its strategy whereby when a damaging story to an industry or interest would come forth, they would have all of these methods to contact the news division, to get their lawyers to call to try to stop and censor stories and views and bully the reporter and the news organization. And I said back then, we're playing defense. Something's going on here. We need to develop our own strategies to protect our turf and not be subjected to these propaganda campaigns. But we didn't really develop a strategy. And now, 10 years later, you can see it's firmly taken hold in news organizations around the country.
And you know, Sharyl, it's not only what goes into the news, it's what stays out of the news. I mean, some of the real scandals are actually underreported. I would put #1 example is the possible misuse of a FISA court by the FBI and the Department of Justice and possibly the State Department to spy on American citizens. And this is something that you have very personal experience with. I'm just wondering if you can explain that and tell us the latest.
Well, briefly, we've proven there was a government intrusion into my computer and devices over a period of years, very extensive intrusion. I now have a federal lawsuit pending against the Department of Justice and unnamed FBI officials and other subpoenas that have been issued. They've been trying to dismiss the case for 3 years, but we keep surviving. But the point is, this was part of a larger operation, I believe, under which journalists, politicians, political enemies, and ordinary Americans have been improperly spied on and surveilled. And I think that is one of the biggest stories of our time that, like you say, has been pushed out of the news by other things that may be less important, but intentionally so.
Didn't they take your computer and then give it back to you with a different hard drive in it?
Well, we just discovered one of the many devices that the government intruded upon. I had turned over to the Department of Justice Inspector General back when to see if they would further the investigation. We already had our own forensics. And we only recently discovered in December, when we went back in that computer for additional forensics based on new tools, that there's an entirely different hard drive inside that personal computer of mine.
Wow.
And we have asked for an explanation from the government. And to my knowledge, since we wrote that letter to them in December asking about the differing serial numbers, they have not responded.
Well, maybe they just thought your old computer was too old. They were just upgrading it for you, Sharyl.
It was very kind of them.
They were doing you a favor, yes. Well, good luck on that. Let us know what happens. And thank you so much for coming in. Sharyl Attkisson. The book, by the way, is The Smear. The show is Full Measure with Sharyl Attkisson. We thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.